Welcome to day 2 of the All Things Psoas series. This is an advanced class, but as always, your breath is your guide. So as long as you follow that rule, you're going to be keeping your body safe. We're going to be diving in through the back today. To get started though, we'll be right on that initial belly position.
All right, so the block will be directly over top of the belly button like this. Block will be flat on the floor, horizontal to your mats. And then let's slowly bring yourself to the block, and then we'll just start up on the elbows.
Just taking a few moments just to settle in, get used to the sensation. You can be up on the elbows. You can even bring the rib cage flat to the floor if that feels right for you. Your breath is your guide with everything that we do. Let's focus initially on the inhalation phase of the breath. This teaches us where the proper diaphragmatic breath should come from. And become aware of the sensations you feel. You may feel pain, pressure, even a pulse. That's all totally normal. And you may be a little sensitive from day 1's class. That's actually a wonderful time to dive into blocking when you are sensitive from other work that we've done. That indicates there's inflammation there. And it's in the inflammation that all of the healing proteins, oxygen, nutrients are there to rebuild tissue. So when we continue to add more heat and energy into that area, the healing is really deep and exponential. Let's shift our focus now to the exhalation phase of the breath, allowing your body weight and gravity to do the work as the block sinks deeply into the core. The psoas muscle, our target of focus, surrounds the lumbar vertebrae on either side. It's the deepest muscle in the body. So imagine as you're allowing this block to sink in nice and deeply that you're communicating with that muscle. You're asking it what it needs, you're providing what it requires, and you're releasing it so that we can fill that tissue with blood and oxygen. Taking that breath to a count of 6 for the exhale and 4 for the inhale. We really want to make the exhalation phase the focus. When we can actively move the toxins, the waste, the byproducts of functioning, the negative emotion out of the way, that creates the space for the oxygen to flood into that area to heal the tissue. We'll spend 1 more minute here. And for this last minute, after you exhale fully, hold for a few moments before engaging that inhalation and ask your body what it needs. Let's start really connecting our thinking, our thoughts into our healing and learn to listen to what your body is saying. Your cells communicate with you, but it's a language that we aren't certain of until we really tap in and we start to pay attention. So don't judge it or get frustrated. Just start to ask your body what it needs whenever it's feeling any certain way and see if you can hear what it's saying. The psoas is the muscle of the soul, so we're diving deep so that we can really hear what our higher self is asking us to do. 3 more full, slow exhalations here. And when you're ready, let's place the hands under the shoulders and exhale up. You all set to dive in?
I am.
Wonderful. So we're going to be diving in again through the back. So initially, Quinn, if you just want to turn around, then I can show people where this block will be positioned. We're going to have the block on the left side. I didn't know which side was your left. On the left side of your SI joint. So it's going to be vertical, up and down. So that's the placement for you.
All right, so let's just lay on the back to start. The block's going to be flat, vertical to the mat, and then let's lift the pelvis up. Let's place the block directly on the SI joint. And you might not feel anything initially, which is okay. I don't feel too much sensation yet, but Deanna will bring us to the pain.
We're gonna find it.
Do you want me to keep these bent?
Yeah, so let's begin by straightening that left leg. And then just with that right foot, put a little pressure in just to roll left to right, just to become aware of how things feel. And again, you may not initially feel any pain, just become aware of what's going on there. And for the first half of this position, we're going to explore in this area. So Quinn felt by lifting that leg up, he absolutely accessed deeper stuff. So let's see if you can explore for about a minute or so, opening up that joint. You can take that left knee over to that left side and just play around, find that pain, and then use your breath, that full exhalation, to move that pain out of the body. And remember, the slower you move, the deeper you go. We're never in a race when we're doing this process. For some of you, having that leg flat on the floor and just exploring left to right may be enough. And just like in day one, where the goal was to broaden the pelvis, we're going to be doing that same thing through the back here.
Now I found some deeper pain. And also check in with your shoulder blade alignment, because we want to have the rest of the body aligned as well. So if you're kind of shrugged up like this, let's pull the shoulders back and down.
And we'll spend 3 more slow exhalations searching over to the left here. And then let's bring both feet flat to the floor and just shift so you feel nice and balanced in your pelvis. And then we're going to straighten the right leg and then take that left knee over to the left, drawing the right hip toward the floor. Get a sense that you're hooking that SI joint on the block as you pull that tissue away. Imagine broadening the back here. Does that feel nice?
Yeah.
Perfect. And that full exhalation is the driver of the heating process. You can place your hands on your belly if you need to check in. We'll spend 3 more full slow exhalations here. Let's see if you can even contract that right glute as you draw that right hip to the floor. And then you can even take that left knee a little bit more over to the left. See if you can open things up a little bit more here. And then let's slowly bring everything back to neutral so both of your feet are planted on the floor, carefully taking that right foot up. And when you're ready, just lift the pelvis up and let's take that block out. So rather than having Quinn come up, I'm just going to show you on me where the next position was. So we just had it on the left SI. We are going to simply slide the block up. So it's going to be vertical again, just below the shoulder blade. Now, initially, this is going to feel awkward getting into this position.
So let's plant the feet on the floor. We're going to have to lift the pelvis up a little bit higher here, and we may have to roll over to the right just to snuggle the block in where it's positioned. So it's on the left side of the spine, just below the left shoulder blade. So lift up. If you can place it directly there without having to roll over much to the right, that's great. And then once you feel the block positioned right between or right below the shoulder blade on the left side of the spine, we're slowly going to bring the pelvis down, but at the same time, we're wanting to bring some of our body weight to the left so we don't just slip off the block. So it's lifting up just under the shoulder blade, bringing the pelvis towards the floor as we bring our body weight to the left slightly.
And let's take both knees over to that left side and lower the pelvis all the way to the floor. And then for 5 breaths, what we're going to do is we're going to exhale as we root, lifting the pelvis up. Inhale as we drop. And this is going to create an interesting sensation in the back of those lower ribs. Exhale and lift. Inhale and drop. This may feel awkward, but that's okay. If it feels awkward, it's because these ribs are hard. We want to soften them through this process. And then after that 5th breath, let's let that pelvis stay down for a moment. And then straighten that left leg. Now, this is going to get a little more painful. Push into that right foot and roll over to the left. And you're going to likely feel quite a hard ridge a little higher up. You feel that?
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely ridges.
So we want to be using our breath as our guide, but now let's rock slowly back and forth. You can put some pressure into that left foot. Exhale, move to the left. And then release, inhale, and drop back to neutral. And let's just nicely move back and forth, creating a massage-like wave effect.
Ooh, there I found more.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension up here because of how we support the body when we collapse into this rib cage, and that's all part of what's going on with the psoas muscle. So we're not directly on top of the psoas, but we're creating more room so that with this next position after we complete it, we're going to dive really deep and get in there. Let's spend 3 more full breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can just bring that leg back to the floor, nice and carefully. And then you can either roll over to the opposite side and get that block away, or lift the pelvis up and take the block out, whatever makes sense for you. Doing well?
Doing very good. I found a lot of pain in this one rib up there.
So we can definitely spend more time there. Now we're going to put the block on the side. And we're going to simply place it in the low back on the left side. So not on the spine, just to the left of the spine.
So we'll approach this very similarly. We're going to place the feet on the floor like so, lift the pelvis up. The block will be on its side horizontal to the mat, to the left of the spine and the small of the back, or in the low back here. And then we're going to slowly bring the back to the block, and then we'll start here.
And when you're ready, let's straighten that left leg. And if you need to walk that right foot out a little more to the right just to give you some balance, that's totally fine. And then let's push into that right foot and explore over to the left, keeping that right shoulder blade on the floor. We're getting a nice little twist in here. And let's just spend about a minute or so really exploring in through here. Now we're tapping into that psoas muscle from the back.
And even if you can walk your left leg with your foot away from the body, that's going to help create more space in the low back.
Nice, strong, full exhalations here. Keeping that right shoulder blade on the floor, let's see if you can twist just a little bit deeper. Add a little more pressure into that right foot. Three more breaths over here. And then let's slowly bring the pelvis back to neutral. Walk that right foot in a little bit. Take the left foot, place it on the floor. And then you may want to walk that left foot out a little bit to the left. And then slowly, we're going to drop that right foot, or that right leg, straighten it to the floor. And then we want to drop the right hip to the floor, feeling that tissue moving away from the spine. We're broadening the back here. You feeling that?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And use that right glute to draw that right hip to the floor. Extend that right heel away from the body. And then see if you can sink a little bit deeper, giving a little more pressure to pull that tissue away from the spine. Your breath is always your guide. If any position we take you into is too intense, go to that position that you are able to breathe in a relaxed way. We'll take 3 more full exhalations here. Then let's walk that left foot in a little bit more to center, plant it nice and firmly, connect to the root, draw that right foot up to the floor. And then lift the pelvis up and take the block out. I'll grab that for you here. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take the legs up to the ceiling with your knees bent. And we're just going to roll the knees over to the right and just get a sense of this twist and how it feels in the back here. How's that feel? Pretty
Feels
free?
Pretty good. Oh yeah, the left side feels very free.
Wonderful. So just
Actually,
take a couple breaths here.
In my glute, I need to release. That feels very, very good.
One more breath on this side. And then carefully take those knees back up to center and twist over to the other side. Does that feel different?
I can't bring my knees really all the way. There we go. It's definitely, yeah, I need to release the right side.
All
lot.
right. So we won't keep you in this painful rotation. Let's bring those legs back up. And then just roll over to one side and exhale up. And now we're going to do that same series on the right side.
All right, I will need my block.
You sure will.
So we'll just lay flat on the back to start. And this one we're having right on the right SI joint here. So the block will be flat, vertical to the mat. We're going to lift the pelvis up, position the block on the right SI joint just like this, and we'll start from here.
So let's take a nice, full, strong diaphragmatic breath to connect in, and then straighten that right leg. And just roll over to the right, just to get a sense of the landscape, how that feels for you. We're going to spend half of our time searching over in this right section. So for some of you, this may be enough. If you want to increase that intensity, you can lift that right leg and begin to explore. And using that left foot to put pressure in it to search over to the right, wherever you need to be. We're broadening the back. Nice and slow with your movements. Nice and slow, but explore as fully as you can. If you want to see how it feels to take that right knee over to the right, or even drawing it up over to that right shoulder. All of these things are going to open up your body in different ways, and you want to find what works for you. And pain is your guide. Pain equals restriction or adhesion in the fascia. And with that full exhalation, we drive that melting process. 3 more breaths here. And then let's bring both feet flat to the floor. Now you might want to walk that right foot over to the right slightly, and then lengthen that left leg. Take that right knee even a little more to the right, and then drop that left hip to the floor, hooking the fascia on the block, getting a sense that you're drawing it away from midline. You want that back to be nice and broad and flat. If it feels right for you, connect to that left glute to get a sense of drawing that hip more to the floor. You can even pull that right knee away a little bit more as you broaden, 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 only if that feels right, whatever your body needs. We'll take 3 more full exhalations here. Then bring that right foot flat on the floor. You might want to walk that in a little bit. Connect to that root as you draw that left foot back up to the floor. And then let's lift that pelvis up and take that block out. And now we're simply going to place that block underneath the right shoulder blade on those lower ribs vertically and flat.
So we'll keep the legs bent, lift the pelvis up. Let's place the block pretty well as high up until you reach just below the shoulder blade. And it's to the right of the spine. And then we're gonna slowly lower the pelvis down. As you're doing this, we'll draw the hips and the knees to the right as we continue to bring the pelvis to the floor.
And it's fine if the pelvis doesn't reach the floor. Just move in that direction. So drawing those right knees over, pelvis to the floor. Now for 5 breaths as we exhale, we're going to root and lift the pelvis up slightly. Inhale, drop it back to the floor. Keeping those knees angled a little more to the right. We really want to get that twist in there as we're massaging this. Two more breaths here. Exhale and lift. Inhale, release. And after that last breath, bring the pelvis back down. Straighten that right leg. And use that left foot to push in as you slowly search a little more to the right. And you're likely going to feel a really hard area underneath the shoulder blade in those ribs. So see if you can get to that space. And then with the exhale, move into the pain. With the inhale, draw slightly away from the pain. Just giving yourself a nice wave-like massage over that hard ridge. We'll take 3 more full slow breaths this way. And then after that last breath, let's bring that right foot back to the floor and either roll off the block or lift up and take it out, whatever makes sense for you. And now we're going to place the block on its side, just to the right of the spine.
So we'll lift the pelvis up, position it in the small of the low back, just to the right of the spine. And we'll start off here.
And then let's walk that left foot out a little bit to the left, and then you can straighten that right leg nice and carefully. And use that foot to explore over to the right. And you can position that right foot anywhere where you feel the most comfortable and that you will get the deepest. Pushing into that foot as you roll to the right. And let's keep that left shoulder blade planted on the floor here. So we're going to be working into a little bit of a twist. That's what the psoas is about. It's about rotation. So we want to rotate into this muscle, feel wherever it's hard, and let's stay there for some breaths to soften it. You look perplexed. Are you feeling anything?
No, this is good.
So you are feeling something?
Oh yeah, definitely I'm feeling stuff. I also feel it in my left SI joint as I rotate and my pelvis rotates.
Walk that foot a little more toward midline and see if that takes some of that negative stress off that SI joint if you need.
No, I actually think it's good.
Okay.
It's a good pain.
We'll spend 3 more breaths searching over to the right here. And then when you're ready, let's just walk that left foot a little closer to midline. Connect to that root. Let's pull that right foot in so the foot's planted on the floor. And then let's walk that right foot out a little bit. Straighten that left leg. And let's drop that left hip toward the floor. Now we're pulling that fascia away from the spine, making this low back nice and broad and flat. Connect into that left glute, drawing that left hip further to the floor if that makes sense for you. We'll take 3 more full, slow breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can walk that right foot in a little bit and then root to support your pelvis as you bring that left foot to the floor. Move that block away, lifting the pelvis up. I'll take that block out of your way. And then let's draw those knees up. And now let's rotate over to the left. Let's see if we've made some progress.
I can feel a lot of restriction now here. But this is released significantly.
Wonderful. One more breath here. And bring those knees back up. And continue over to the right.
And I'm keeping my root connected here, especially as we're moving the legs over to one direction. That's going to keep everything a little bit more supported.
And with the goal as well as keeping the shoulders nice and planted on the floor. Take a nice breath here. And then slowly bring those legs back up. And then you can just come up out of position, roll over to one side, exhale up. And before we end, let's just check in with what we did yesterday. So let's just feel those sit bones nice and firmly planted on the floor. Let's rotate over to the right first. Let's take that left hand, place it on the thigh, and twist and really connect into the left glute. We want to stabilize the left sit bone on the floor as we rotate. And release. And then readjust, feel nice and planted in both sit bones. Take the right hand over to the thigh and twist. Connect into that right glute, planting that sit bone on the floor. And release. How are you feeling?
Feeling very, very good. That was an awesome class. That really tied it all in. Yesterday's class, so day 1, is a little bit more intense in a different way because I'm sure you guys know, but this really is putting things together. And then tomorrow's class, day 3, is gonna like tie it all in.
Absolutely.
So this was really great class. Really great class.
Yeah, so we'll see you for day 3. Breathe and believe.